Some of you hit the stores hours ago. While finding a great deal may be a shopper's priority, it is important they ensure your personal and financial information remains secure when you're in the checkout line. Nationally renowned retail expert Hitha Herzog joins us to explain what you can do today and the rest of this holiday shopping season. Good morning, Hitha.
Good morning, Mary. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here on, well, today and as we go into this season where everybody's out and about. So let's start with the basics for secure shopping. What do you think which tips could everybody use?
Well, a couple of years ago, we had that data breach, and people are still talking about it to this day. Between the retail breaches and data security, I teamed up with American Bankers Association to kind of talk about what's what and how to keep ourselves secure and safe as we go out and start purchasing things. And one way that things are really changing up this holiday season is at the point of sale. So, when we go and start paying for things, when you go up, there's going to be a chip reader. If you know, and if you remember, a lot of these banks have been sending out these new cards with chips in them. And so when you go up to pay for something, you insert your chip, your new card into this chip reader, and you put it up face up, and it creates this one-time code that can't be duplicated. So you're going to be dipping your card instead of swiping that card as you get to the register this holiday season. And you know what? That chip is really there to keep you more safe. That's not to say, though, I have to put it out there, that if you are still swiping, because let's face it, some of us still have cards that swipe instead of dip, that if the unlikely event that there is a retail breach, you as the customer are in no way liable for any of those fraudulent charges. So, do we then stop getting emails that say, heads up, your stuff might have been compromised? Is it possible for criminals to still counterfeit cards with this dip technology? Well, this one-time code that's produced when you're using this dip technology can't be counterfeited. That's why it's so great, because it adds that layer of protection. I got to tell you, I just went out and was shopping. As you can see from the bags underneath my eyes, I've been shopping for the last 72 hours. And, or I guess I should say channel checking, because I'm a retail expert. But so I've been out there, and it's super easy to use. And, it only takes about a minute to dip your card instead of swipe. But I have to say, if you are still swiping, the customer is in no way liable if there is some sort of data breach. This is just a new way of keeping people safe.
Is there anything you can do if you've been compromised, Hitha? My husband and I just had to get new cards in because he was out of the country and somebody there stole our stuff. But once that happens, as a consumer, what can you do to minimize kind of the headaches that happen after the fact?
Right. Well, one way to minimize it is obviously use the cards that have your chip in it, as opposed to using your swipe cards. But if you are using your swipe cards, I can't emphasize this enough, if that fraud happens, you just, are no way liable. You call your bank up immediately, and you want to make sure that you're checking your statements all the time. I think sometimes people get into habits of not checking their statements often. That is crucial. And these days you can get your statements online. You can see them in real time. And these banks, they send out alerts. So, just make sure you're checking your phone, checking your email, looking at your statements. And I can't emphasize that you have to call your bank immediately if you think that you've sensed that there is some sort of data breach. But again, as a customer, you're not liable for that.
Yeah, thank goodness he was doing that, because he'd heard, well, listen, right, visitors, this stuff is happening. And so he was checking about every 24 hours, and that's when he caught it. So we were fortunate in that regard.
Right.
Is there a website, Hitha, before we let you go, if our viewers want to get online and learn more about the technology that you've laid out this morning?
Right, I can imagine there are a bunch of questions about this, and people can go to safechipcard.com. There's a bunch of Q&As. There's actually even, what I love, a diagram that shows you how to use this chip card once you get to the point of sale. So definitely go check it out. Yeah, safe shopping out there.
You got to leave it.
It's going to be a great season.
Right, leave the card in the device, because I yanked it out early a few times and then had to start over. Hitha, thank you so much.
Right. Yeah, make sure you leave it.
Yes.
Face up. Yep.
I understand. Hitha, thank you, and happy Black Friday.
Happy Black Friday, Mary.
Thank you. Mike?